Morning everybody, Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review, going to be doing, as per the title page of course, Blue Streak! Though not really blurry blue, but we'll get to that. The original plan for this video was actually to do Cosmos, but then the doorbell went, and it was more of Adam's paintball stuff, and I put Cosmos down, and now I can't find him. So it's scour the Transformers shell for something else to do, and I came across Blue Streak and thought, yes, you know what, I'm going to do Classics Blue Streak. And now I do realise that way back in my earlier days of YouTubing, this is back in 2006, good lord, have I really been around that long? Flaming heck. I did do a video on Blue Streak on the G1 toy. However, the time it took me to talk about that toy, I think I spent about a minute and a half on his character and the rest was just blabbing about the toy itself. So I thought it's only fair, you know, that Blue Streak gets a second shot. For those of you who are interested in it, it's the, if you go into my videos and type in Blue Streak, you'll find it. It's the one that I'm attached to with Sideswipe for some reason. So, one of the major characters, Sideswipe, and Blue Streak gets a 10-minute review between them. Right. I don't know, I didn't know an awful lot back then. Well, certainly not to the degree I do now. But there we go. Anyway! Blue Streak, yes, Blue Streak in his classics format. Now, Blue Streak's a talker, as I did say in the other video, and that's about all I said in the other video actually. Blue Streak is a talker. He's kind of like me. He talks incessantly. He's constantly whittling, whippering, blah, 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 prattling on about something or other. And he just talks. Doesn't necessarily say anything of any interest, he just talks an awful lot. And the Autobots have got to the point where they're kind of ignoring this about Blue Streak at this point. You know, they've known him for quite a while now, so they just let him carry on. They just let him talk. You know, they just, you know, it's like a man listening to another. It's like a man listening to a woman. There we go. Don't tell Philly I said that. I'll get in trouble. Anyway, in the Generation 1 cartoon, Blue Streak is one of the original Autobots to show up on Earth. Now, his bio depicts him as being a sharpshooter, as being, you know, he's an excellent shot, and he holds this in the cartoon as well, in that he is a very good shot, and a lot of the time, it's a Blue Streak is one of the ones that does a lot of damage to the Decepticons, which in itself, for an Autobot in the 1986 cartoon, is doing pretty well. Now, he's most prominent in the first few episodes, so the More Than Meets the Eye episode, which pretty much just featured all of the Autobots and all of the Decepticons at one point. Yes, so he's very prominent in those episodes, because they're all there at Sherman Dam and the Ruby Mines of Crystal and the Ruby Crystal Mines of Burma and all that at some point. And obviously, you know, the most common characters that were in the Generation 1 cartoon, at least for Series 1 and 2, was of course Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. So Blue Streak didn't get a huge, not huge anything. He's seen flying with Ironhide after Skywarp, and he lets go of the battle. He lets go of the fight when Ironhide is shot down by Skywarp. And Blue Streak goes and gets Ironhide out of the water, and that's probably about it. Okay. His next real major appearance is when Optimus Prime assembles a strike team and sends them off to Cybertron. And again, his gunnery skills really do come in handy when he shoots down some of the Decepticon Seekers that were sent after them by Shockwave. So it's the Acid Storm Seekers. Acid Storm and his Seekers, which I have done a review of earlier on. I know, I'm really glad. I'm starting to plug my own videos, and that's really bad. Oh, well, never mind. Silver Streak's next main appearance was in one of the sillier episodes when Megatron's after the Pearl of Bahodin, and Silver Streak allows himself to be driven by the very arrogant, very annoying human car racer Oggy, and Blue Streak is driven by Oggy. Why, we don't know, but there we go. Seen as You'd think that a robot that was in control of literally its own vehicle would do quite well on its own, but no, apparently having a human driver really does help them. Well, it worked for Headmasters. Okay, that's him in the cartoons. He's very, very, very briefly in the 2006 movie, in that he's one of the Autobots that is helping Cup and put up the roadblock outside Autobot City. I think he's the one that's carrying it with Sunstreaker, though I'm not too sure. You know, because you've got Cup there being a little to the left, a little bit more. Blech. Okay, now then, in the Marvel Comics continuity, Bluestreak again is one of the original Transformers to come up onto the Ark. And he initially very much shares Mirage and Huffer's opinions, and indeed Swipes and Streaker's opinions concerning the humans. If they get caught in the crossfire, oh well, not my fault. You know, he doesn't really care about it. It's only very much the interventions of Optimus Prime, who really do care about the humans. You know, some of the other Autobots would very much let the other humans just go to hell, because they just see them as getting in the way. Because one of the reasons that it's not explained in the cartoon, that's explained in the comics, is that the reason why the Autobots transform into vehicles is because Teletran 1, when it was scanning various old modes for them, believed that the cars were the actual sentient life forms, because of course it was the same on Cybertron. The vehicles were the sentient life forms, because of course there's no organics. In the early Marvel comics, which were quite brutal, especially when Shockwave starts showing up, Bluestreak is one of the ones that he's seeing hanging upside down, deactivated, in kind of like an abattoir of Autobots, and I've completely forgot my train of thought then. So anyway, we'll carry on. Bluestreak is one of the ones that went after the Dinobots and got taken out invariably quickly. And he's quite badly damaged, and he's out of action for an awful lot of time, for a long time. You know, you don't really see Bluestreak again. Up until Optimus Prime resurrects him, and he's promptly killed by the underbase-powered Starscream. There we go. What can we say? That's what happened to an awful lot of Transformers. That's what happens to Transformers, is they get killed by the underbase-powered Starscream. But there we go. Right then, now, in the IDW... Is it IDW or is it Dreamwave? No, it's the... Is it IDW or is it Dreamwave? Dreamwave. Yes, it's Dreamwave. Yes, it is. It's Dreamwave because it's War Within. Oh my god. Back in a minute. Right, I'm back, and yes, it was the Dreamwave continuity. I just had to double check because it was like, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, there was enough in the previous bit about me going in the Dreamwave continuity, Bluestreak's home city is destroyed by the Decepticons. He's the only survivor, and as such he's left very, very embittered, and he is one of the more civilian Autobots who becomes a soldier in the war, in the Great War, in the war against the Decepticons. Much later, it is Bluestreak who relates the death of Sentinel Prime to Optimus. And incidentally, on a point on the War Within comics, if you look on YouTube, type in the War Within, there is an absolutely excellent adaptation of the War Within comics, and it's basically just done using the comic shots themselves and the and Photoshop just to move them around, and it's an absolutely brilliant piece of work. I do recommend that one. In fact, I think it's actually on my favourites list as well. There we go, another plug for my own channel. When Shockwave attacks Icon, Bluestreak is one of the ones that hangs around to defend them, and he's badly damaged. In fact, when Megatron again comes forward, Megatron uses Bluestreak's body to power his own viral weapon. Bluestreak nearly ends up being killed by this. You know, he's nearly drained to the point where he dies, but Prime gets to him just in time. The Dreamwave continuity stuff, of course, carries on, and I think it's supposed to be a bit of a tie-in with the Marvel Comics, in that Bluestreak is one of the ones that goes to Earth aboard the Ark. In the IDW continuities, Bluestreak's pretty much on Cybertron, and he's actually in command of an infiltration team that infiltrate a planet and get up to various action, adventure, blah, blah, blah. But basically what Bluestreak does is he fights an awful lot before getting killed. However, he does, in the IDW comics, he does save Jazz's life. In the IDW comics, Jazz is battling against the Predacons, and he's up against Razorclaw when, from a little bit across to the side, Bluestreak takes a pot shot at Razorclaw and knocks him out. So again, Bluestreak keeps his sharpshooting abilities. Okay, now Bluestreak onto the toy. This is the classics version of Bluestreak, but he's about as blue as this book. And that's always been a thing with the Bluestreak toys, is he's not really very blue. You know, he's always been depicted as being silver. So why Bluestreak? I don't know. But this is a restyling of his Generation 1 cartoon, Generation 1 toy range, which of course was black and silver. And like the Generation 1 toy range, this mould was used, well, in the Generation 1 toy range, Bluestreak came first. In the Classics range, Prowl came first, but they use, and was then used to make Bluestreak, or Silverstreak, and Smokescreen. Excuse me. This one, I believe, was the second of the Prowl moulds to be released, and then Smokescreen was the third. Now, Hasbro, being Hasbro, never ever weren't able to hold on to the name of Bluestreak, which is part of another toy range. So he was renamed Silverstreak, which in all fairness makes a lot more bloody sense, because he's silver. Well, silver and black. Right, so it makes an awful lot more sense that he is called Silverstreak. And Silverstreak comes along quite a bit. He's in the Binaltech storyline, where he is infected by cosmic rust, and he gets remoulded into, obviously, Alternator's Silverstreak. That's very silver. Very, very silver. And I personally think he's one of the nicest of the Alternators, as Silverstreak, but he also gets repainted again into a very bright blue Subaru, which admittedly this is the Smokescreen version, not the Bluestreak version. Yes, but there's not an awful lot of difference. There just happens to be bright blue, very blue. But onto, yeah, I keep my alternators on my top shelf of my computer because they look so nice there, with Fort Max standing at the back. Anyway. Onto the toy. The Classics toy range was, of course, was very popular in the late series, and the street models, well, the Silverstreak, Smokescreen, and Prowl models were some of the nicest. You know, I always thought they were mid-range for them. Transforming him, very simple. First thing, just pull out his gun, because it fits underneath, and then just fit out like that. I just knocked the phone off the desk. Well done, Simon. There we go, good enough. The only person that rings me is Southern salespeople anyway, so... Honestly, do you know what? I will admit, I really do like these automated sales calls. You know, it's like, "Hi, I'm James calling from blah 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 blah." They usually get as far as "Hi, I'm James," and I just go donk donk. Because, you know, I've worked in call centres myself, so I know what it's like to have people hang up on you. It's not very nice, but when it's an automated machine, you don't feel that guilty. You can just go, What was I doing? Anyway, transforming, you've taken the gun out and then you pull up the little two bits at the back. And then the whole thing just kind of like snaps apart. Unfold the legs. To get the feet. Now then, these things, the door wings, well the wings, they pop out and they are incredibly fiddly, so I just pull them off. Because I think it's so much sodden easier than fiffing and faffing and messing around trying to fold them round. I'll get a piece of wood for that wrist, I've clearly broken it. Anyway, pull the arms down, pull them out, and then it just kind of like, the head just snaps round, and then it just folds down. Lift up his two little rocket launchers to go on his sides. And then just play with the arms a little bit until they're all in the correct position that you want them to be in. Then just fold the doors down and snap them back into place. They're only ball joints, so they're not going to, they're not going to wear out too badly. And I don't transform mine enough to have them worrying about them wearing out. And we have one transformed bluestreak. Now, reactions concerning these toys are mixed. I quite like them. My biggest gripe is that they don't have some of the posability that goes with the other classics. If you take the likes of Prime, which is incredibly posable, the likes of Mirage, which is amazingly posable, or Cyclonus, these don't really have the posability. I mean, they're not very steady on their feet, so they fall quite easily. They'll fall over quite easily, and you can't really do an awful lot with them. My other biggest gripe with them is these sodden doors. They are, I think they are, because in order to transform them properly, you've got to turn them round, fold them out, then fold them round again, and they're just so fiddly. So as I said, I just pop them off because I think it's just so much easier to do. But other than that, you know, I actually quite like this toy. But then in saying that, for the most part, there are exceptions. For the most part, though, where the classics range comes along, you know, I'm very much in the camp is they're awesome, get them all. Which is why I've got. Actually, I'm up to date with the classics. I've got them all, except for some of the other repaints, the likes of the Power Glide repaints and the some of the Cybertron toy repaints, like Cybertron Blades and Cybertron Springer, which were repaints of Cybertron Evac. I'm up to date with all the classics. Yes, I am. I'm just looking now and I'm trying to think to myself, but it's yes, I am. I'm up to date with them all. So yes, you know, they are, as far as I'm concerned, the classics range is pretty much the nicest toy range you can get. You know, I think they're absolutely lovely. eBay, hasn't eBay gone expensive? That was something I wanted to make a video independently of that. I might actually do that, but I just seem to think that eBay has gone tremendously expensive recently. But there we go. The classics will cost you between 12 quid and 20 quid. Though if you're paying 20 quid for a classic, so $40, you're getting robbed. You're getting robbed. They should still be fairly easy to find in the US, especially. Not so much over here, but they should be fairly easy to find. Check out Kapow, Kapow Toys, or even Big Bad Toy Store. They might have them. Big Bad Toy Store almost certainly. Well, I'm not sure about Kapow. I haven't been on his site. Oh God, he'll shoot me. I haven't been on his site in a while. Oh well, never mind. Because Kapow's very good. There you go. Quick plug there for him. But yes, I have said all I pretty much can on bluestreak slash silverstreak. So I shall sign off. So this is Silverbolt with bluestreak signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.